So now it's
You're
just
not gentle with your orgasm piece? I'm sorry.
No.
That's you know what this podcast is about. You know the subject.
Yes.
This is what it's going to be.
Yes.
We may have a parent advisory thing.
Am I being too dirty? And then I'm like, we're talking about erotic art. I'm fine.
No.
No.
I'm like, should I show this? Should I not? Like, should I show this or should I have a chicken that says 18 plus? Like, I don't know. Okay, 1, 2, 3, action.
It began with the forging of the great rings. 3 were given to the elves, 7 to the dwarf lords, and 9 rings were gifted to the race of men who, above all else, desire pleasure. But they were all of them deceived, for another ring was made. In the land of Lancaster, with a brush and acrylic paint, the Dark Lord Sarus forged in secret a master cock ring to control all others. And into this ring they poured their cruelty, their malice, and their will to dominate all art. 1 cock ring to rule them all. The ring came to the human Annajane, who took it deep into the apartments of Lancaster, and there it consumed her. The ring brought to Annajane unnatural, great talent. For 500 years it inspired her mind, and in the gloom of Annajane's cave it waited. Darkness crept back into the forests of the world. Rumor grew of a shadow in the southwest, whispers of a nameless sphere, and the cock ring of power perceived its time had now come. It abandoned Annajane. But something happened then that the ring did not intend. It was picked up by the most unlikely of creatures, a hobbit, Jesse Clark of Soka. For the time will soon come when hobbits will shape the fortunes of all.
In place of a Dark Lord, you would have...
Me!
I don't know half of you listeners half as well as I should like, and I like less than half of you half as well as you deserve. This is Jesse Baggins.
No, but I'm glad we're doing this because, like, I need to talk about this part of my work more because it's like the stuff I do, it's like I'm either making like the most happy, positive stuff that like everyone can enjoy, or I'm making like this really nasty, I mean, it's not nasty, but it's like, you know, sexual, and people get like, they're like, they can't understand that could be inside one person, and you could make so because then it's like I scare off certain people because they're like, penis, but then other people are like, why do you make all this like floofy like stuff? Like, why don't you just stick to, you know, the intense stuff? And it's like, because I'm a multi-dimensional person.
Yeah, exactly.
So you mean you have layers and depth?
Ah!
What?
That's the issue that I run into as well with my erotic pieces, because I'm like, should I show this? Should I not? Like, should I show this or should I have a chicken that says 18 plus? Like, I don't know.
Well, there's like I was like talking to somebody back around the holidays when there was like a maker's market somewhere, and some lady I was like talking to because I really liked her like stuff that she had, and you know, I did that thing you have to do that I hate doing, and it's like, oh, follow me on Instagram, blah blah. So I like, gave her my Instagram, and she like looks it up on her phone like right there with her kid, and her kid is like seeing all the bright colors and is like, ooh, and she's like, oh no, this has a lot of adult content. Like right in front of me, and I was like, oh my god, I hate this.
They often scare off like the people, like the boomers that aren't into some weird shit, or if it's not 3 a.m, whenever they're okay with the weird shit, like scares them off. But if there is that one point between 2 and 3 a.m. where I get my commissions for not safe for work stuff. I just like check my Twitter and I'm like, there we are. Yep, found it.
Twitter is the place to get that kind of thing, but I hate Twitter. I've never had it. Like, I've had a Twitter before, but like, it's like the one social media that I absolutely cannot. I can't even follow it because it's like I hate the way that the replies are done and like the likes, and it's like I'm too ADHD. I can't. Mm-hmm. There's too much. I'm like starting to look at like one thread of information and I end up on some other thing and I'm on this rabbit hole and then I never post the thing that I was gonna post and then I can't remember what I was gonna say and I don't know how to talk about it. It's just I hate it.
My issue with Twitter is like I hate the interface. And like to be fair, I have 6 followers. No one's looking at my Twitter. But like it feels like you're talking to no one. Like it's just like you're just talking into the air.
I agree. And I think it's like for the people who've had it since it started, it definitely doesn't feel that way to them. But if you're trying to get started on it now,
it's like impossible.
It's impossible. And it's also just like a place where people go to yell.
Yeah, it's just like
in our previous episode, April Hartman said almost the same thing, that it was like Twitter is a place for sassy thoughts.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like, I'm too like, I'm not like that.
Just like a bunch of asynchronous but simultaneous like just diatribes of themselves, you know, just
like everybody has like the most niche opinion.
Yeah, these just monologues that are just,
and then they just
not throwing them off
you say anything to them. It's like there's no like having a conversation like a normal human being on Twitter. It's like you're either for them or against them, and there's no in between.
Am I the only one who's just there because Tumblr no longer allows not safe for work imagery?
I mean, there's a lot of people who do that, but like honestly, I was like off of Tumblr by that time too. So like,
same.
I was just starting to do not safe for work art again, and so that's why I was like, okay, Tumblr is a good safe place to post it where my ma or anyone like that is not going to be there to be like, is that a penis? How dare you? And all this stuff.
So let's do introductions. Who would like to go first? Thumb wrestle.
Who's going to challenge me?
Paper, rock, scissors.
So I'm Sarah Hofunder. I am a mixed media artist. I do sculpture, 2D, 3D, sculpture, 3D, 2D, and digital works. We're focusing on the erotica pieces today, so we're going to look at that. And I usually do some high fantasy based on mythology or storytelling items. Yeah. Great.
Cool. I'm Annajane Dauphine. I am also a multimedia, mixed media artist. I do acrylic painting, I do ink painting, I do digital, and then I do all sorts of other random stuff that usually involves like upcycling materials. Like I love making sustainable jewelry and fashion and that kind of stuff, especially with vintage and found objects. But yeah, since we're focusing on the erotic stuff, it's mostly paintings and digital work. And I do some fantasy stuff that it just lends itself to my style because I do so much bright colored stuff. And I'm also very influenced by tattoo styles, especially like the neo-traditional style. And then I just love like 20th century kitsch and camp. And a lot of my art is like erotic art is I have a mindset where I keep in my mind representation of the LGBT community, the people of color, and just try to be like intersectional in that because we already have enough of like skinny white girls porn. So I mean, I love it. I love the skinny white girl porn too, but it's just, I want to just add my little bits here and there.
Broaden it out a little bit.
Yeah. And I also do like fetish kink related stuff as well. That's it.
Awesome. So let's talk about what y'all have been doing with your time creatively or not during quarantine.
Who's starting?
Well, I've done nothing. That's honest. Like I've been very, it's been hard on me the past 3 weeks being inside, and I just don't have the energy or drive to draw. I'm not one of those people who when I suffer with depression, and I'm not one of those people who when they get depressed they're like filled with all this like creative stuff. I don't understand those people. I'm happy for them, but I don't understand them, and I can't do that. It like my depression sucks away my entire brain and all of my creativity and makes me just like I just don't feel like myself at all. So I'm actually really glad we're doing this because I'm hoping it'll, encourage me to keep me, working and actually working because I have not made anything in 3 weeks. It's like crazy. I don't know. It's crazy, but I tend to do this where I go like, and I won't do anything for a while, and then I'll get super inspired and I'll make a ton of stuff in a really short period of time, and then I don't make anything. And I don't know if that's common or what, but that's just how I tend to be.
That's called the rainy season.
What's that?
It's called the rainy season. Whenever you have like a dry part where it's like, I don't really have that many ideas. It's a lot of busy work. It's a lot of just like doing paperwork side of things. If you do the whole tax stuff. And then whenever the rainy season is whenever you suddenly get this creative flood, and it's just writing down 1,000,001 ideas that you have and then portraying them until your well or like collection of water just kind of dries out.
Yeah,
it does happen. It's a creativity is
definitely like an ebb and flow. Yeah,
it's definitely a flux, and I'm feeling a little bit dry myself, a little parched here. I'm thirsty.
I mean,
So,
yeah.
Sarah, besides putting up with me, what have you done this quarantine?
Been putting up with you, you gorgeous thing. And this is one item that I've been working on, my large scale piece of erotic work. It started off with just an idea for a composition, and sorry, I'll show you guys since you're in my studio. And I have like the graphite tonal study sketch.
That's
and all
so good.
that fun stuff. Yeah. So that's a full thing right now. It's definitely a work in progress, but I'm really enjoying how it's coming out. Mixed media.
What is the creature?
Oh, it's a dragon.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like a classic English dragon.
Yes, like from like medieval paintings and stuff.
Exactly.
Nah, it just drinks Earl Grey.
Sorry?
he said it drinks Earl Grey.
It drinks Earl Grey.
It's a British dragon.
Jesse's always ready with the dad.
Right? Drinks Earl Grey.
I'm sorry.
Don't be. They're wonderful.
It's a wonderful joke. I love it.
So, Sarah, do you want to talk about like your process of creating this, materials used, and please talk about the bejeweled cock ring on the human.
Oh yes, and how it scared you when you first saw it.
Wait, why did
it's not about me? It's not about me.
I like how you look upstairs. You're like. It just so happens that your images that are being recorded are like in that vertical alignment.
Mm-hmm. It just happens.
That's true.
That's
only the least thing. So my process was I started off with a composition in my head and I drew it digitally on my iPad, and I've like fiddled around with anatomy and stuff because anatomy is my lifeblood. I adore it. And then I used the projector and I put it onto that piece of paper that I showed you guys. And then I ended up doing the tonal study where all of the scales will go, like jewelry, cock rings including. And then from there, I put it back onto the iPad. I did a color study on top of it. And then I projected the image onto this huge piece of MDF board. and then I just started painting it. I did a white gesso, and then over top of that, I just started filling in different colors. Like I wanted to make the dragon a classic greenish color, or just like a classic green, but it also has elements of like glitter and stuff in it. It has glitter glue in it, which I can hear every fine artist in Lancaster that has ever taught me anything and yelled at me using glitter cringing right now. Sorry, Evan Kitson. Anyway.
You're hoping you weren't going to drop a name, but okay, fine.
I feel like Kitson's probably an okay one to have in there, right?
Oh yeah, Kitson's fine.
Okay.
He's a wonderful, wonderful draftsman, fantastic artist. But yeah,
I'm a big fan of non-traditional mediums, so you've come to
Yeah.
the right place.
it feels a little bit more freeing than using just Winsor Newton oil paint.
The shade.
It's so much more freeing. But this is basically acrylic, and then I went over top of it with a ink. So I have my ink, and then let me find my ink pen because I know it's right here, or at least it was a minute ago until I dropped it. But I also have like an inkwell pen. Here it is. Like wooden, has like the tip of it and
Yeah.
everything.
Cool.
Doing that whole YouTube thing where people hold up their hands so you can see the contrast. So yeah, that's what's going on with that piece. So far it's just been me working on it, having fun with it. All the gold is gold paint. So yeah, that's that piece.
Very cool.
Other
So
than that,
me getting scared of the cock ring.
yes, and Lee came up and I was like, Lee, look at my studio. It's clean for once. And Lee came up and then like looked
It's
at this
very
painting.
dirty.
Beeline to the cock ring.
I was like, is that a fucking cock ring?
It's it.
Of course it is.
Like, is that a bejeweled cock ring, Saris? And I was like, shush.
I'm here for it.
Nobody needs to know. Quiet. Oh, God.
I didn't even notice it at first, so it's very impressive observational skills, Lee.
I mean, to be fair, it's about 6 feet tall.
Fair, yeah, it's big.
Oh, it's more like 4.
I'm very small and it looks very big.
Forgetting how small.
I was going to not have a small joke, but you did it for me.
Uh-huh.
Other than that, I've been working on, actually, if I'm allowed to share another piece, it's the Dragon Woman. Lee, what do you think?
Wait, which dragon woman?
The one the dragon.
Did you send it in Messenger already?
No, the sculpture.
Oh, yes.
Okay, cool.
I want to see a sculpture.
It's
Yeah,
so
I've also been working on this Dragon Woman erotic sculpture. So I'll go get her. She's right there, staring at me, going, "Why didn't you send a photo of me? I have boobs." And I'm like, "Okay, yeah, calm down."
All right.
I actually was like, oh, I should have had a piece of my art in the background, and I actually do. And
Yeah.
I don't know why. This is because I have imposter syndrome.
Imposter.
Yes, that is art.
Yeah,
Yes,
I know. Like, what's
art.
wrong with me? Like, I was like, oh, I should have had some of mine.
This behind me? Oh no, it's a doodle.
No, whatever the opposite of that is me. It's like, oh, this trash? No, that's.
Piece is actually really heavy because of the rock. Lee and I went out to Lancaster County Park to get that, but she's on her way to her next bake, so she's a little bit fragile right now. But yeah,
Beautiful.
yeah, she's on her way. She's definitely on her way. And if
I
you can,
love the torso and the boobies.
I love sculpting torsos and hips. It's my favorite thing. So yeah, it's just a piece that is supposed to be a little bit erotic, just a touch. So I'm loving it. It's a ton of fun to be working on right now. It's just a lot of work.
Yeah. I've done sculpture as well.
Yeah. What medium did you use?
Mine were really tiny. They were made of paper clay. And then I would also, I love paper clay. And then I would, they were like multi-medium as well, because I used like wood and fabric and stuff in them too. So they were little worms. They're like little alien worms with little wire feet, and they had like either an eyeball as the face or like a big mouth with teeth and a tongue sticking out. And everybody told me they looked like little penises. And so basically everything I make, somebody comes up and says like, oh, there's a penis, or oh, look, boobs, because I draw them subconsciously in almost everything I do.
Well, this seems like a great time to move into some intentional boobs that you've done, Annajane.
Yes,
so let's bring up that one.
All right.
Show the art.
Yes, the one with the boobs.
Yes, the one with the boobs.
Yes, that one. I love her.
I love that it says pinch out for bigger view on the screen.
Oh gosh.
So this was kind of inspired. So like I have some older Playboys and Hustler magazines and that kind of stuff. I really like love the magazines because most of the like pictures in it are just absolutely wild, and I just don't really understand, like sometimes I just don't get like what they were going for at all. I don't understand them. But there's also so many comics, little comics in these magazines, and they're all like peak boomer humor to the point where you literally can't understand them. And it's always like a picture of like a person, like a guy, like an old dude, like saying something, and then there's like a woman with like the most terrifying body. I don't know. It's like always like something that just does not look like human. And it's always like the comment is just like, it says something and you're like trying to like relate the words to the image and you just can't at all. And I don't get it at all. So, but these were kind of, this was kind of inspired by those comics, but like how I would want them to be, because I feel like this would have been a lot more entertaining. Because number one, it's like actually like something nice to look at instead of like a scary little goblin person with their boobs out. And it's like actually more pleasant, and it's like definitely like a fantasy that most people probably have had in some way, but presented in a much less threatening, confusing manner, and it like actually makes you laugh. So, and it's like easy to understand, not some cryptic boomer humor.
It does. Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
It does feel very welcoming, like her going, "Hiya, neighbor," and like just the nice smile, the kind eyes. Like obviously, your eyes go down to the tits immediately, but when looking at her face only, like she does look very welcoming and very inviting.
Yay!
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was going to say something similar, that like the exaggerated features are very inviting. And then I love this color palette so much. I've been like leaning more towards pinks and stuff after years of avoiding pink, and now I'm just like, it's like a love of pink has been awakened in the last few months for me. So I look at this and I'm like, it just makes me happy.
Well, like pink is my favorite color, wearing it right now, and it's there, and I love pink. And I mean, I think a lot of people who are raised as females like have a thing against pink because we're like, it was so highly feminized as a kid. Like I remember like when we would go to the toy store as a kid, and like my dad would always say, like he would literally call it the aisle of pink, because there was like the aisle of just like all the Barbie stuff and everything, and it was literally all pink, hot pink. And I think we just got overwhelmed with it, and we were like told like, this is what you do, this is what you have, this is what you can play with. And it made us all go like, I hate that. I don't want to do that. I think that's stupid, because it felt like it was just being forced upon us and like we didn't have another choice. But then as we've gotten older, it's like, it is a very feminine color, but when you can use it in new and different ways and use it for your own enjoyment, I think that's where a lot of people have kind of found a new love of pink. And when you're talking about erotic art, pink is very common because genitals are often pink. So I think you kind of have to have a love of pink. But yeah, I didn't like pink when I was younger either, and then as an adult I just have fully embraced it. So almost all my pieces have a shade of pink in them. But in general, I like really warm colors, and I use mostly warm colors, and then I'll use like that kind of blue or like a teal or something, or like a turquoise as a you know, complementary color, something to really make all the other colors pop. And I love, in this piece, like I love the blue eyeshadow. I kind of did her makeup after my own makeup, because I'm wearing orange lipstick right now. And I used to have hair very similar to hers. So I think I tend to like draw my characters like how I want to see myself. And I love blue eyeshadow. I think blue eyeshadow is like one of the like most trashy things that's ever been, and it's kind of known for being really trashy and like bimbo-esque. So I love to give my characters blue eyeshadow because I think it just makes it super bimbo-y. And also kind of clownish. If you give them like red lips, it looks like a bimbo clown. Ooh, a bimbo clown. I like that.
Sketchbook with you, just start writing down ideas.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the kind of stuff that I want to keep making, that kind of like weird fetish stuff, but then you make it your own, you know. And like, you know, like nuns are really popular in fetish world.
Yeah.
And I made my own before. Do you have a picture of my nun?
Maybe.
No. Well, there's that one. That's a good one. There's also that was like the first like lewd one that I did. I think that one's from like 2017 or 2018. Not sure. That was a watercolor and ink drawing. I like the eyes on her there.
I like the eyebrows.
Yeah, I still do those. Those are like really big. I still do those, but I usually make them like small now. But I've done a few nuns. I don't know why. I think it's like the conservative Christian like repression. Crazy. So I think like all that stuff just like kind of led me to like, I think all that does is like make you kinkier.
Yeah, it just pushes you in that direction where whenever they're trying to be like, you come this way, and we're just like, no.
Well, I mean, I went with it. I definitely was like all for it, but I would find every possible, you know, loophole in my mind to get around it. And
like the people that do anal sex so that they technically didn't lose their virginity.
Yeah.
And I'm like, bro.
Yeah. Like it went so far. Like for some people, that's like, you know, they wouldn't even want to ever do that. So it's like you can understand how pressured they feel, and it's really unfortunate. You know, some people they make it through fine, and that's good. But a lot of people don't. You know, a lot of people really struggle, and I definitely did for a long, long time. So
as a pastor's daughter, because I am the non-binary boy.
Yeah.
But as a pastor's daughter growing up, I definitely understand that life. And people either continue on with that belief system, and they live happy lives or not happy lives. Or they become kink artists, and here we are.
Yeah, I feel like almost every person I've met who makes erotic art grew up in a way where their sexuality was repressed in one form or another. I mean, not to mention that I was bisexual and trying to figure that out. Like,
hey.
Yeah, you know, that's just crazy, crazy stuff, and you feel so alone. And but I didn't start really making any erotic. Well, that's not true. I did draw some stuff, but it was like, you know, drawing it in like the corner of my journal and hiding it from everyone.
You-
Oh, and to the point where you get like, I got like OCD about it. And I would like rip it all up and like flush it down the toilet so no one would ever see it. Like, that's not a way to live.
No, that's whenever you're like, I just want to see what it's like. And then you're like, nobody can ever see it anymore. It must be gone. Be gone.
Yeah. Throw it away and never be seen again. Yeah. So when I started actually posting that stuff that I was drawing online, that was pretty big for me. Because I didn't want other people to know. But they all knew anyway. No one was surprised.
So let's show the other picture that Sarah sent. That's the horizontal.
That one's hardcore.
Yeah.
I love that one.
Justin is scared.
He's okay. So just to give you some perspective, this is all a very consensual event. Just to throw in some perspective.
Oh. I love his little toenails. He got long toenails.
Oh yeah. Well, he's pampered. He's pampered useless, so he doesn't need to wear shoes that often anymore at this juncture.
What is happening?
It's basically a love scene in a meadow where my character Mast has in the actual storyline. My character Mast has a performer and put on this hell-themed event, essentially, where continuously throughout the event would take a potion and slightly become more demonic. So by the end, they were completely demon, horns, tail, the whole shebang. And this is the aftermath. Basically took their partner out and was like, all right, you like demon? Here we go. So just kept it that it started off as a doodle. Like I actually have the original like piece that I made for this scene on my business cards because it's just so striking with the red.
Oh, I think I've seen. Yes, I have seen that.
Yeah, here I actually have a business card. Hold on. Yeah, and it just kept on growing from there because I always looked at that piece and I was like, you need more done to you. This is not up to its full potential.
Mm-hmm.
Like here, I don't know if you guys can see that. I can't see myself very well, or at all, really.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, I've seen that before. I've seen that.
Can we zoom in on the detailing towards the bottom of the picture?
Yeah, there's a lot of detail in there. Yeah.
I love.
Oh, that has a ring.
Oh yeah.
He's a nipple ring too, which I was very into.
Oh yeah.
He has a nipple ring. He has a cock ring on there too, Lee.
Oh yeah,
Thanks.
look, it's there. Yep, there it is, peeking out.
Yeah,
Yep.
sure is.
You asked me to do my erotic art on here. Just remember.
Yes, I did.
So what is all this like red here under
Are they
the
intestines?
tail? Yeah.
They are not intestines. It was it's inspired by a rug that I have in here actually. So it's a red rug with like the different rings on it, and then it's like intertwined. Everything that he is laying on is supposed to be extremely soft and comfortable. Like this is
I'm sure he's noticing that.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's thinking about that right now. It's like, you know what? I'm so glad I'm on something so
what?
plush.
Yeah, it's so comfy.
This is so comfortable. No, he's
Yes, never mind this.
Never mind the teeth in my neck.
Never mind the teeth in my neck. Yeah, never mind. Somebody looked at this piece of succubus, and I was like, in a way, yes.
Well, incubus, really, right?
Incubus, yeah.
Yeah.
What's the difference between succubus and incubus?
Well, an incubus is a male sex demon,
Ah,
and
Well,
kind of. They kind of have
yeah.
different roles.
My Mast is the non-binary, but happens to have a penis. Like it took us a long time to decide that Mast had a penis. We were like, do they? I don't know. It was kind of vague for the first few months.
Mm-hmm.
Then it was solidified, and we're like, okay, that's it.
Well, it's got to have a cock ring then.
Gotta have a cock ring.
Well, I guess wait. Mask is the demon, though, right?
Cast is the demon, yes.
All right.
Yes.
So what's
Does
So-
the mask also have a cock ring?
Oh, yeah. You just can't see it.
What does he look like in human form?
Oh,
So we're looking at mask now.
yeah, we're looking at masked. This is the human version that is in one of the other images, actually, that I sent you guys. I sent you guys 3, right?
Mm-hmm. I don't know. Why am I answering?
I sent 3 to the chat, and I think Mast is curled up in the Raven Man's arms as a human. So
I'm
another
sorry,
AU.
that was masked.
I'll bring that up.
Thank you, Jesse.
Very handsome. They remind me of like I don't know, the Hunchback of Notre Dame for some
Right?
reason.
It's very gender bent Esmeralda.
Yes, yes.
Well, Mast originally was like the look was themed after Esmeralda, but a gender bend situation. Still with
Oh
that
my
long
God,
left.
I can't believe I guessed that.
Yeah, it was like good job. And then their personality is very much chaotic good, very much Robin Hood-esque in the way that they're like, I'm going to break the rules, but it's going to be for a good reason. And so that tends to be like their whole personality. They're very loud, bardic, like very boisterous,
Yeah.
mischievous. So it definitely goes into all of that fun spectrum, which makes for great sex RPs.
I love that you just really focus on those feeties.
Oh yeah, them feeties. Actually, this is the next piece that it's going to be put onto a big panel and done big. So I am hoping that I will really be able to get into the detail and hashtag foot fetish if anyone wants to send me some commish.
Well, bring up the fairy piece of mine.
Sure.
Sorry, Jesse, we're making you work hard today.
That's fine.
Flip around to everything.
This one.
Yeah. That
They're having
one.
fun.
Yes.
Tons of fun.
Yeah, I love to draw the little feeties too. They're so fun to draw.
Is that what I'm looking at?
I don't know.
I didn't notice the feet either, to be honest. That is not where my eyeballs went.
But yeah, like this is like an example of different body types. Like this one's very different from the other one that I did, the one previously where she was like had much larger boobies. These are more smaller, but then also tummies are one of my favorite things to draw because they're a lot more fun to draw than flat stomachs, in my opinion. But yeah, this was one that I did another fairy drawing, and I would like to do more of them. They're very fun. The wings are very fun to draw, and I'd like to do more detailed stuff. I really like the way Sarah says everything super detailed, and I always am constantly struggling between whether or not I should make things more simple or more detailed, and it's hard. And I think like right now I tend to like be kind of in the middle, and I don't really go full force one or the other, and I don't know which way I should go, but I think I need to decide soon.
What program are you using for your digital art?
Procreate.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
You could just like open up another layer, play around with detailing, and if you hate it, just yeet.
It's
Yeah.
very true. Like you can have multiple versions of it, saying, "Oh, this is like this is the simplified version."
Oh, that's true.
Very similar to how I had my original version of the Breeding of Blood piece, where it was like demon person, and it was like just mostly focused on color and contrast at that point.
Yeah.
Not on all the detail. And then whenever I did it big, I was like, well, I guess I'm drawing grass today. And just went into all that detail of the grass and the ground and rocks and everything. So yeah, it definitely, like, I agree with Lee. I think it's a great idea to go in and add an extra layer on Procreate and just see how, like, play around with more detail. Because I'm really interested to see what you especially come up with, like your brainchild comes up with inside.
Yeah. I mean, I want to do on the OnlyFans. I would love to do like monthly themed drawings and then post like, 2 to 4 images a month that were based on like a theme, like fairies or nuns or different things like that. And I would love for people to like be able to have their input on it, so it can, be more catered towards the audience of people, on the OnlyFans. So maybe I'll try Twitter. I might try Twitter again.
Twitter is like, I have a good experience with Twitter, but that's also because I mainly chased after all the people that were on the Tumblr purge. So that's the whole reason that my Twitter is actually a positive experience, and that I actually got commissions, like the 2 to 3 a.m. commission span. I've gotten my Foxman, like, sculpture commission from there as well. I just got a message at 3 a.m. going, "Do you do foxes?" And I was like, "Yes." "What kind of foxes?" And he
Furries always have the money.
Immediately sent me a bunch of furry art, and I was just like, I can do this.
Furries have all the money.
Oh, yes, come to me, furries. I will draw you all the things. I will sculpt all the things.
Yeah. And then on this particular piece, I did have some feedback that I really liked when I showed a friend of mine, and she said, "I love that you draw vulgar pussies," which I did not know what she meant by that. But apparently she meant like the large labia and like prominent clitoris, which to me is like, well, if I don't draw it that way, you can't see anything.
Jesse, can we zoom in on the cooch, please?
Here we go.
Yay!
Zoom in on the cooch.
Yes!
Oh, yeah. Bravo.
So I don't know, like I draw them like that because they're easier to see that way. Because that was kind of the point, was to see them. And I think we have also enough of, very small vulvas being, the main thing in most porn.
Well, that goes into a whole, like, other fetish of having, like, tight shit. And you're just like, that's not real. Stop.
Yeah, I mean, like, it is real to a certain extent for certain people, but it's not it's not the general rule for most human beings. And yeah, I guess that's part of the thing that I want to like focus on in my erotic art is like, I literally just had to count the toes because I was like, is that the right number of toes?
She does have great feet.
Oh, thank you.
Lovely toes.
But
yeah, this shot really brings out the toes there.
Yeah.
The manicured fingernails, like
yes. I always draw long nails because I just think they look nice.
Fun.
Yeah, and I wish that I had long nails all the time, but getting your nails done is expensive. But when I do have them, I talk with my hands anyway, but it's like when I have long nails, I'm like, look at my nails. Paid $50 for these, look at them. But yeah, so I think there's just not a lot of like what people call roast beef pussies in
I don't appreciate that.
Jessica's like ascended.
I was just thinking about the other day when we had some vegans on the podcast and what they would have thought about that. Or
it's vegan.
Is it?
Well,
it goes back to that. It goes back to the thing about the ethical consumption.
It does. It does.
oh, I've had this conversation before, and I love having this conversation. But maybe we shouldn't do that right now. But I love everybody's opinion on that. Anyway, I think everyone has a valid point. But yeah, I guess I want to just keep doing this kind of stuff, this kind of representation where people can actually look at it and go, hey, like, that's what I look like, or it looks similar to me. And like, I don't feel so weird about it now because literally everything else looks different. And to the point where some people literally don't know that they're like, they think there's something wrong with them. And I'm like, that's really messed up. And people think there's something wrong with them. And I personally haven't really struggled with that, but there's lots of people who have, so.
Yeah, body positivity. Whew.
Yeah, because I've had that it with like everything else in my life, so it's like, I get it. We don't have to keep looking right at the pussy anymore unless you guys want to. Oh yeah, and I always love like drawing like cutesy faces. It's very like anime inspired, but also like tattoo inspired, because a lot of the faces that they draw in like a lot of like the girl tattoos, the tattoo women's faces have like similar look. Well, I really like TikTok. There's it's like people are always like, oh my god, TikTok is so cringe, and it is. I'm also pretty cringe, so I feel like that's probably why I like it so much. But there's so many cool artists on there, and I've discovered a lot of my new favorite artists through that app. And I try to post some of my stuff on there, not my erotic stuff really, because, well,
There's a million and one kiddos on TikTok.
Yeah, there's so many kids, and like I try to like delete the children, but they're so hard to delete all of them.
There's so many of them.
There's so many, and they like you don't even know if some people are like kids or not because they don't have anything on their profile. It's so annoying. But there's so many like people on there who are like makeup artists, and they have like they just, I don't know, they like sculpt their face into, they don't even look the same. And I know because I used to do that when I was in high school, and I'm very out of practice now, but I'm still just so amazed. And I get so much inspiration from there because there's so many creative people on there. They have like different characters and all sorts of things. So I get really inspired by some of the people I see on there, and sometimes just like their face so much that they end up being a character in some of my drawings.
Mm-hmm.
Love it.
Great. So we normally have a segment where we would have gone through all of your stuff and sent an ambushed image, but that got covered by accidentally bringing up that nun, which was something that we were going to ambush you with later.
Yeah.
But I think we've covered that. Do you want to talk about the doggy style logo?
Sure. Yeah, that was for a friend of mine. She has a subscription box that is meant to have items in it for people who own dogs so that they can get their dog to like leave them alone when they're trying to have sexy times. Because so many people...
What an idea for a business. I want to be a fly on the wall for whenever she goes in and asks the bank for a loan on that.
Well, she's been doing it. She's been she's been funding it herself, but it's called the doggy style box. You can Google it. And it had like, she had like just different items, some of them for dogs and some of them for people. And it's usually like the dog items are usually like toys or something to get them, because some people's dogs will not leave them alone. Like they'll, like if they have them out of the room, they're at the door and stuff, and then otherwise they're just like staring at you, and that's awful.
They're like, is that how you do that?
Dog's like, no, let me show you.
So I drew this for her, and she gave me mostly free reign of like how to do the logo. And I love playing with I do a lot of like lettering in my art. I'm by no means a talented lettering person. Like I see some people and they
Stop
just
that. This is talent.
Talent.
Well, this is kind of like this is a font style that I created myself, and it's like an amalgamation of a lot of different fonts that I've seen, and also just like what's easiest for me to draw. And it's developed its own way over time, and sometimes it's slightly different. Even the Soka mural has like a very similar style. So I mean, obviously here the O in doggy is a condom, and I tried to kind of make it look like the condom, like how the condom's inside the wrapper, and you can kind of like see it inside the wrapper and kind of outlines. And then obviously there's a dildo for the L at an angle, so it looks like the balls are the part that goes out from the L. And this was just super fun. The colors were really fun too, because I wanted something that was like gender neutral and would make something silly. Like I just wanted to be silly. Like it's a silly box that makes, I mean, it has purpose for sure, but it's a very like playful, silly idea to me. And so I wanted it to look playful and silly too. And yeah, so that was it. I would love to do more of this kind of stuff. I don't know if that's like really something that I could often do, but I would love to do more. It's really fun.
There's people that do typography like for a living, creating fonts and things.
Yeah.
Like the bubble font, it definitely has this market. And
yeah.
Have you been on dafont.com? DA font.
Yeah, I go on there sometimes to look for fonts for like inspiration. I don't ever like 100% copy a font, because I think that's messed up, because that's somebody else's thing, but like I do use it for inspiration to like make my fonts look more of a certain way, because like I do like a scripty kind of font for some of my more tame stuff, and so I've looked for inspiration on there before.
Yeah, it's a wonderful website. Maybe you could look into doing fonts for that. Making an alphabet, maybe?
That would be cool. I would love that.
Idea.
Can we circle back to the dildo? Because I'm not sure whether this was like intentional, but like from this angle, it also kind of looks like a torso and legs.
Oh,
like,
it does. I didn't mean to do that.
Oh, it does. Yeah, I see that. Okay.
Okay, because I was wondering if that was intentional. Because
it wasn't. That. Oh, cool. See, this is my thing about my art, and I say this in my art, my artist statement. But like, I tend to, and this is more of an expansion on it, but I tend to not really always see my art. I just don't see my art the way other people see it. There's been like so many times where like I will show Jesse something I made, and he's like, "Oh, it's this," and I'm like, "Oh, it is." Because like, I don't think that that's necessarily like a failure on my part to not get across the message that I'm trying to get across, because I think I still successfully do that. But to me, it's part of like what I enjoy about making art is that when other people see it, they have their own experience with it, and they have their own interpretation of it. And that's how I see like all art in general. So it makes me I'm comfortable with that. A lot of people, and like when you go to art school, they want you to like really focus on your concept. Like conceptualism is so important in art school. It's such a major like core value.
Yep. As a
you're a fine art major, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And so, and I believe that there's value in that. And I think that some people, especially when you're in school, they don't have a very like good grasp on it. And so it's important to show them how to do that. But I think after a while, it's like, we got to let go of it a little bit, because if we pressure ourselves to, completely represent our concept fully on canvas, and then someone comes up and, like, say like a friend comes up and goes, "Oh, well, I see this, that, and the other thing," you can like, I've seen people rip themselves apart and rip apart their own art, because they're like, I didn't accomplish what I wanted to accomplish. I didn't get out what I wanted to say because you didn't see what I meant. And I don't think that that's very rational, because we're all different human beings, and we all can only see our environment and anything inside our environment from our own unique and specific perspective. So to expect another person to see your art from your perspective is probably impossible. So to stress yourself out to that extent over it is not productive, in my opinion, and probably the opposite. It's probably pretty damaging to you, and you're probably not allowing yourself to do what you actually want to do because you're concerned about how other people are going to perceive it. So for me, I'm kind of anti-conceptualism. Whatever I make, I know, isn't that horrible? I'm the worst artist to ever live. Like when I made this, to me, I made it out of happiness, out of an expression of just free creativity. To me, it's funny and silly. A friend of mine was absolutely horrified by it and thought something horrible had happened to me, and then that was why I needed to make the art. So, completely different perspective.
It's lettering for a friend's business. What did they think
Oh, I'm
happened to
sorry.
you?
I mean this.
Oh, okay. Now I'm following. Sorry.
Yeah. So to this friend, he thought something horrible had happened to me, and that's why I wanted to make this. And that is not true. And I don't know why he thought that, but that's his business. I don't know. But see, to me, I don't allow myself to get angry about it because, well, he got something out of it. I explained it to him, and he was like, "Oh, okay." But I don't have an issue with people not seeing what I see or what I mean to a certain extent. You know, it's like, I think, you know, Sarah saw the dildo in the doggy style image. You know, Sarah saw the dildo, Jesse saw the dildo, I saw the dildo, but Lee saw a torso. Am I gonna be mad because Lee saw a torso and the two other people saw what I meant? Like, no, you just see something different. It doesn't bother me.
You mentioned the happiness here. Here's the happiness.
Happiness.
Sorry, that was a bad joke.
So it's to me.
Don't apologize.
It doesn't bother me, and it honestly it actually excites me because I go, oh my gosh, look, I did something cool and I didn't even know it.
Yeah. Well, like, okay, going off of like what your meaning is, or what the reason for creating the artwork, and then having other people's reactions to it, to piggyback that for a while. It definitely is very interesting to hear what other people have to say, because I did a t-shirt design of a pair of, like, you know, sewing scissors, like, you know, with it's like uniquely
I
different.
know the exact t-shirt design. Yes, I love it.
It's the bird, and then it has the 3 circles with like a ring on the inside as well. And I did it originally as an attempt at a logo for a company that my friend was doing. And then it went into like, they were like, oh, we're going to go with this other design. And I was like, okay, sounds great. I'm going to use this as like my t-shirt design then. And I created this without really thinking about the concept much. And then like Adam Serrano, actually, he came over, he took one look at it, and he was like, that's about you wanting to transition into being non-binary. You want to cut off your tits. And I was like, well, yes. And I looked at it and I was like, damn, okay, he's right. Like, it's the subconscious thing, even. Like,
yes.
Whenever you're working on something, I sometimes just zone out and I just start working on something, and I don't know why I'm making it.
Yes. And I think sometimes the obsession with conceptualism keeps people from making this kind of art. I think it keeps people from allowing their own mind to speak without having to control it.
Yeah, exactly. Or like, even with this stuff, some people would think that a lot of people would think that it's cheapened because this character was originally not an original.
Right.
Like, this character was originally from a game of like a few years ago, and then is now like used in a much different way. Like a lot of people would consider that cheapened, especially with my fine art brain and everything that's been beaten into me. It's like, you're making cheap stuff, you're making non-conceptual stuff. But then like some people would look at this piece and go, oh, it's about loving people, even though it's not a word. It's even though it's unorthodox.
Yes.
Or just,
yes.
Or like interracial or same sex, something along those lines.
Sarah,
Yes.
Can you tilt your iPad where tilt the top of it backwards, because we're losing half your head.
Is
There
that
you
better?
are.
Hi. Sorry. I can't see myself at all, so.
Yeah,
But
that's
yeah, I agree with you totally. And I think like this isn't also like to bash conceptualism either. Like I think it's really good, and a lot of a really amazing art has come from conceptualism. And like I think that if someone is a concept artist, then like that's awesome. It's just that I think that there needs to be more of an opening in the art world for people who don't do conceptual art, people who do more freely, just sort of almost like sometimes my art just feels like stream of consciousness. It doesn't really feel like I'm trying to make anything, and there's like really a lot of value in that, because like what we just said, it's your subconscious mind is creating something, and then other people will tell you stuff about yourself. And I think that vulnerability is scary for a lot of people. They want to be in control so much that if someone else has a different idea about what they make, then that's not just a comment on the art, it's a comment on them. So I think conceptualism has become like pretty harmful for a lot of people, especially since such young people are being taught it. They haven't had a chance to even express who they are or even know who they are. I still don't know who I am. And to then go into school and then they drill it into your mind, like if you like, no one will care about your art unless you do this thing. And when you're that young, that means no one will care about you unless you do this thing, because that's how we internalize these lessons. I'm sorry, I'm becoming a therapist.
No, I completely agree. Like, whenever I was doing my senior thesis, one of the heads are up there. Whenever I was doing my senior thesis, they were like, it was based on folklore from different areas. I pulled from Aztec folklore, I pulled from Slavic folklore, all that stuff to make 3 completely new characters. And so I created them, and I started sculpting them out of foam. And then I had professors coming up to me going, why did you make this out of foam? How does this fit with your concept? And I was like,
those questions.
And I'm like, I'm covering the foam up in faux fur anyway. It's just, it's affordable. It's there, and it's sturdy. It's lightweight. Like what?
You really touched on something important there when you said it's affordable. Conceptualism is classist. I'm sorry, but it is. Because some
paints, what?
some like a friend of mine, you know, she was in art school, and she's like my best friend, and they were creating altars. That was like their concept, was to create altars, and she was making an altar to like her own like femininity, and there was a lot of pink in it, and she had these curtains, and you know, she bought what she could afford. She could not afford very much, so she bought something from like Walmart or something, and they were like pre-made curtains. And the kids in her class, you know, during critique were going, well, I don't understand. Why didn't you buy like velvet fabric and make the curtains? Why are they made of this cheap material? It doesn't look, it's not regal enough. It's not, and it's like, and she felt so bad, and she felt so like she just had failed. And I was like, this is not right. This is classist. You can't, like, what are they, you tell them that it'll be a velvet curtain when they go buy the velvet for you. Because it's, yeah. So conceptualism in that way, when it's like down to critiquing every material you use, I think it's just really inappropriate, especially if it's something like that foam where it's like you're not even gonna see it.
Yeah. You really can't see it.
Yeah. So I think that's why, you know, people like us, we love the erotic art. We love folk. I make folk art. I love folk art, and folk art is not respected in art school as well. So I think, you know, it's just sort of I guess it's just an anti-art school thought process as it currently stands. But I think that people like us tend to go towards, you know, erotic art. Basically everything that's, you know, We're just little rebels, I guess.
Totally. We're little. Oh, it definitely feels good to talk to somebody who's like, yeah, you do that RP art. It's fine.
Yes,
And I'm like,
what? I mean, me personally, it's what I'm drawn to. So, I'd rather see that than some other things, you know. And it's not like the normies care anyway. They're still gonna buy stuff from Target.
ooh.
Normie muggles.
Sorry.
Yeah, just delete everything that was me freaking the fuck out about that.
This podcast will be about 5 minutes long.
Keep it, Jesse.
See, this is why I'm like afraid to do stuff like this because I talk too much.
No, it's great.
Oh,
I mean,
nice one. Nice pick.
Oh my god, I love it. I love rams. Rams are one of my favorite like animals, I guess. I don't know. Like I like I've drawn rams several times. I have little ram statues. I don't know why I like them.
I have a taxidermied mouflon in my room, which is the ancestor of a ram, and it's beautiful, and I love him. He has little clip-on earrings and beads adorning his horns. It's great.
I need a picture later. I want to see that.
That was great, yeah. He needs a name. I haven't named him yet. But yeah, this was actually what was this? Was this on Twitter? I think this was on Twitter. Yeah, it was. When I first started up my Twitter, a few of my illustration buddies, I was like, hey guys, if you have any requests for not safe for work art, let me know and I'll draw it. And they're like, oh, you're one ram woman, but in a fur coat. And I was like, okay. And this is what came of it.
I love it. She looks like an Instagram model.
Yeah. She does look like an Instagram model. Originally, actually, she was my first, a while back, they had a contest for Hollow Vodka to be like, hey, show your Lancaster pride and send in what Lancaster is to you. And so I was like, okay, lots of farmland, sheep. And so I did this ram, this character, but it was a very tasteful nude from the side view, holding up her hands like this, and it like had all of this Pennsylvania Dutch like rose work on it. She had rose tattoos going up her sides and everything. So she was extremely tasteful in that one. This one she's much more lewd, and it's I love it. I honestly love this version of her, but
Can we talk about the fact that you won being on a Hollow Vodka bag by turning the cat into a person?
Oh yes, I did win that because they were like, we love your art style, but it doesn't quite say like Lancaster to us. Can you show us a little bit more of the culture there? So I was like, okay, goes to market, and I'm like, all right, let me just like draw the bag that I got from market with all of like my spring onions and things in it, and then put a Hollow Vodka bottle in front of it, drew that, and then I was like, okay, Sleipnir, stand still. And so I drew Sleipnir. And it was kind of like I just turned him into a furry, essentially.
I'm gonna try and find the bag. Hold on.
The bag is in the kitchen, Lee. It might be upstairs.
Lancaster is such a cool place to live. It's like got it's like a small town, but everybody's gay.
Yep. Yep. And Jesse's just sitting there going,
Except for Jesse.
That show? The Hollow Vodka bag. I don't trust myself standing on the chairs. Obviously edit all of this stuff out, and I'm just going to magically have the vodka in the living room.
I didn't know that Hollow Vodka was a Lancaster thing.
It's not. They're based in New York.
Oh.
Yeah. It's not a Lancaster thing. That wanted to have that as the, like, wanted to do pride in different areas. So I just applied to the Lancaster one.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I know, because I know Serena did a lot of things for them. Still does things for them?
No longer.
Oh.
Jesse, cut all of this out.
Okay.
So Hollow like wasn't paying people
Hmm.
for doing their branding. And then that was a whole thing. But also, here is.
Oh my god, I love that. It is furry, but it's very cute. I like it very much.
And it looks, it's probably what he would look like as a person. Just,
I've become a lot more like furry accepting. I used to not be a fan of furries, but that was mainly when it was like all of the fursuiters that would like attack people at cons, because I would go to conventions and like get hugged by random sweaty fursuit people, and it was terrifying. So I was pretty anti-furry for a while because of that.
One of my best friends is a furry, like has the whole fursuit and everything.
Yeah.
He goes to conventions in the suit, all of that stuff. So I can definitely see it being daunting. Like at first,
Well,
just
a lot of the fursuits have become a lot more artistic and cool looking, and like almost like movie quality level stuff. And I think those are really, really cool. It was like the ones that were all like the old, you know, the old style of like the anime wolves and stuff with the big ass like eyes that just like stared into your soul. It's terrifying.
Are you afraid of mascots?
Well, when I was a child, I was absolutely deathly afraid. So I think it's just stuck around.
No, because like I'm terrified of mascots, and I'm also really afraid of fursuits. Like I was at Pride like a couple years ago, and like a mascot tried to hug me, and I punched him in the head. Like, so
yeah,
It's not mascot pride.
I'm also afraid of dinosaurs and taxidermy animals if there's too many at once.
Well, you're fine on the dinosaur one.
I don't think you're
Well,
gonna.
no, it's like I can't go to natural history museums because of the skeletons, because they're too big.
Let's talk about so next steps. What can we look forward to seeing from y'all soon?
I mean, I would like to try and push my OnlyFans more, and you guys give me some good advice about doing that. I'm currently working on a little drawing that I'm gonna get back to now because I feel inspired. But I want to do some cowgirls because I love cowgirls. I remember when the Doja Cat Moo song came out. Literally, my inbox was just filled with that music video and everyone telling me that it was me. So, yeah, I love that concept, and I want to do more of that kind of thing. And so maybe the next round of images that end up on OnlyFans will be cowgirl related.
Awesome. And Saris, what about you?
I'm working on a whole bunch of stuff. Erotica wise, I like for shits and giggles, I've been doing my like one of the AUs was the Raven Man AU, and I definitely wanted to turn it into a comic for the longest time because it was such a like there were so many interesting elements to it that we just threw in. Like we're like two DMs, two gods in this world going, what if this happens? It sprinkles things in. So it definitely is, it does feel like that. So I was planning on making a comic of that and potentially posting some of those on Patreon. And if it gets people like it on Patreon, then I would do more with it, or I'd just continue doing more with it on my own time because I find it fun.
All right. Well, awesome, everybody. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Great.
you.
Yay.